On here and chat for a little bit. How's your guys' day? How's it going? We're just gearing up to do a gig tonight, and I'm just thinking about live performance, and been doing it for a long time, and how I feel about it, what I like about it. Let me get you out a little bit, and how much I enjoy it. But I always thought about something that I think a lot of people would find weird to hear, and I think that's that I always enjoy more the second the show's over than I do during the whole show. And that doesn't mean I don't like to perform, but there's something about finishing and feeling like you've accomplished it and that that it went over well and that you've, done a great job and that everything's gone well. Because when you go through the show, you can't really think about anything besides micromanaging little things to get through it. Maybe the voices get a little scratchy for a song. A certain chord will strike a pain in the hands, and little things that happen. Hey, maybe we're going a little too fast in this song. You do a lot of that stuff, and throughout the time, you're just trying to hit these little markers and make things happen. And boom, 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 song's over. Yeah, sweet. Maybe I got to say the right thing. Put out my plugs, get my merch plug out there, whatever it is to get to the next thing, and then you're just moving through these little dots and little spots, and then eventually you find yourself to the finish. And when you're finished, and people are just like, "Wow, we just really enjoyed. Oh my God, we had so much fun." That's the part where you actually sit back and you're like, "Dude, absolutely, that was a fun show," and like, "Oh man, I had fun." That's when you have fun about the show. During the show, I'm having fun, but I'm focused. I want to do a good job. I want to sound good. I want to be good. A lot of times it's, takes a little bit of a focus on that rather than fun. It's like hit your spots, hit your markers, make sure that you transition well. If you're going off a set list, am I going to divert here? Am I not? Am I going to try something new? We're going to go off the cuff. There's just a lot of different, things that you can be thinking of, but when you're done, I think that's the part where you really start to just let it all sink in. You think, "Oh, that was awesome," and man, you remember that part of that song, and you're very critical of yourself too. You know exactly where you screwed up, and most people don't, but you do. Your band members might, and the best players I've ever played with were really humble after the gig, because they would, they'd know where they screwed up, but they know where they kicked butt too, and they knew, hey, this is where I killed it, and this is where I need to work, and so it was just that's always a cool thought as to, like, people that don't do it are like, are you living in the moment? And it's like, yeah, in a way I'm living in the moment, and another way I'm just like trying to do a good job every day that you wake up. For example, your voice tends to be, one day you might wake up and your voice is perfectly tuned. You push the power to hit a certain note, and the note comes out perfect, and you're there. And some days you're a couple cents off and the flat or sharp, and you got to compensate for that. Well, tonight I'm going to be flat every time, so I got to make sure I can get my eyebrows lifted and maybe a little bit extra power or whatever. And so you're thinking of those little adjustments that you want to make. And on top of that, if you're a player on top of a singer, you're thinking about your equipment, and maybe you've been gigging for X amount of time on this equipment, and maybe you got maybe you got to show too many on those strings, or things like that. Hey, dude, call me out, man. Sometimes I just have too many shows on the strings, but I did just get a new Breedlove, so I've been trying to fix that. No more, issues. My old buddy called me out one day. He goes, he wasn't trying to either. He was like, "You still rocking that old Breedlove, are you?" I'm like, "Damn, man, I didn't realize I was still doing the same stuff here. I should probably upgrade and get on to something new." But a lot of times you just have all these things that you're focused on, and then not only that, if you consider yourself, if you're one of the band leaders and you are kind of trying to be the cohesion during the live show, so you're making sure that everybody's kind of vibing and no one's having an issue, and if somebody has any technical difficulties, you as a front man are going to have to chat through that part and be ready to have something to say. And a lot of times too, when you're playing, you're thinking about either a message in the song, or maybe you're just thinking about a message in life or something you saw, or I'm playing hard rock music, or even touring with Tech Nine. You're like looking out in the crowd most of the time. You're like, whoa. You're like, that girl doesn't have a shirt on. Those two dudes are about to just beat each other up. Those people over there are too drunk to stand. You're like reading the crowd like, wow. And it's definitely, see, so within that, and you're thinking about the show, but you don't want to think too much, because you start getting into the minute, into the moment too much. Like if you're thinking, hey, I got a third part of the verse and then the fourth part, and we're gonna come under the chorus, eventually you'll screw yourself up. So a lot of times you can't do that either. You just gotta let it flow and do that. And it's interesting though, because I'm sure if you talk to other musicians, they might have a different kind of outlook on it. Mine's always been kind of like that. I do love performing, and I love performing well. Hey dogs! Hey dogs! Hey dogs! Probably a good idea to stop barking, because I'm trying to do a video. So dogs go crazy sometimes. So got to pull Izzy away from the door. He's just gonna go take off. He knows. But anyways, yeah, so like when you're performing and you have all these opportunities that you have set in front of you, a lot of times if I could give anyone advice, it would just be simply to live in the moment, play the songs, manage the things you can manage, try to enjoy it while it's happening, obviously, because that's what you want to do. I had the pleasure of performing in Kansas City, Missouri, opening up for Tech Nine himself at the Super Bowl party that we had at the Kansas City Power and Light when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl February of 2020. And that opportunity alone was something I learned that it was the first time I'd ever been a part of something that was much bigger than the song I was going to play. Because the song I'm going to play is going to be much different than, it's just a moment for me, but this is a moment for the fans, for my fandom, for everything that I had experienced like as a Chiefs fan growing up. And my first Chiefs game was like 1995, I think. I think that was my first one. If it's not, it was the second one. But my first one I can remember, we played against Jim Harbaugh and the Indianapolis Colts, and we lost 7-10 when Lynn Elliott missed 3 field goals, and that was felt great. Felt so good. So yeah, no, it was it. After a certain point, you got used to the calluses of being a Chiefs fan, but lo and behold, we had some pretty good draft picks coming in 2017, and we picked up a guy named Patrick Mahomes. He led us to the AFC Championship in his first year as a starter, and then 2 Super Bowls following that, and we're trying to build back into that. So, but I do know that, being a part of that Super Bowl celebration was phenomenal. It was, I'll never forget it as long as I live. And I did really try to stay in the moment. Weird thing, though, was that I played a hard rock song. Our cover of Kansas City, Leo Project originally did it. Evelyn Awake redid it, did a little bit heavier version of it. That's the one I performed. I'm sorry, Breakpoint Method. I said Evelyn Awake. Breakpoint Method redid it. Evelyn Awake would have done it too. I love the tune, so I just kept carrying it with me. But Breakpoint Method redid it, and that's the version I did for the live show, and had an absolute blast. And but I did try to live in the moment there, and I did. And I remember thinking when I got off stage, it was different than any time I'd ever been on stage before, because I just wanted to be out there with these fans, because it was just different. It was like I played a lot of shows. I played the bigger than 12, 13,000 that were in front of me that day, but the one thing that sets that apart is they're all wearing red. And it was a vibe that it was like, even with me, like I really enjoyed my performance, but I'm like, okay, this is awesome, because we performed on Saturday, or we performed on Friday for the Red Friday, and we performed on Sunday for the actual show, for the actual Super Bowl performance. And we all were just like, love your tunes, bro. Get off stage. Like it's time to throw down for the Super Bowl. And then we proceeded to watch 3 kind of rough quarters of yeah, first quarter was good. 2 middle quarters were really rough. Fourth quarter was, magical, and as we lead that comeback to win that Super Bowl, and incredible feelings. But the live music performance part of that was really cool. I was glad to be a part of it. My good friend Jason Bradley that runs KCP&L, at least the part that he deals with people like me, I just couldn't have asked for a message in the middle of my video. I couldn't have asked for a cooler gift in that I showed up and Jason had made Tech9 a new jersey. He had made my boy Chris Calico a new jersey to wear for that night with the Super Bowl patch and everything, and he made me one. And I was just very, very humbled by that, because I don't, I know I'm never going to be on the level that, guys like Tech and Chris are, and I think they're incredibly talented guys, and I think they've worked really hard to be where they are, and they deserve every bit of accolades they have. And, I've worked hard too. I could have worked harder. I'd like to, say that I did everything I'm supposed to do, but really I left some things on the table, and as I've gotten older, I realized, my immaturity, and, and now here I am releasing new music and trying to get some, stuff out to people and have people really vibe with all the different, styles of music I listen to and what I'm trying to replicate as well. And so much, really lives in the live performance, and I miss doing the full band thing a lot of times. I really do. I miss it. It's tough. It's tough because a lot of times, man, you have to kind of be the driving force unless you can find someone that kind of matches your intensity, and it's really nice to find that person too. But, creative differences can create those problems, and there's a lot of different things that make it tough to be in a band, and guys that have done it, they know. And a lot of times the camaraderie of being in with your brothers, that's what really makes the band cohesive, and really enjoying each other's presence and stuff like that. And I still to this day get in a room with the guys I've been in a band with in the past, from Leo Project and Evelyn Wake and Breakpoint Method. We just have a laugh, and we still definitely have the cohesion we always had. Even if we're not as close and we've gone to do other things and everybody's life has moved on. And what's weird to think is that I started this journey playing live shows 20 years ago in like 2001, and here I am, 20 years later, and they say the good die young, so I don't think I'm gonna fall into that category, but I definitely know that I got heart, and I've been doing this for a long time, and you can really feel someone's emotions through their live performance. And there are people out there that put on incredible shows, like energetic shows and intense shows, and there are people like me who are just going to try to sing it to you well. I'm going to try to make it hit your ears well. And those are the things that really kind of help me just feel the vibe that I need to feel to perform well live, and not focus on the little stuff, man. Just knock it out. And we're learning more and more about how when we go and we play a live setting and we'll kind of pull something out of the rear end, we'll just try something, off the cuff, and people like really dig that because it feels like they're in the practice room with you, and they like that personal thing. And people's attention spans have shortened up too, so there's a lot of that kind of changes what length of time people are willing to kind of engage in your stuff. However, though, we have long form conversation like this that's popping up, so people are going to listen to a shorter song, but they'll listen to an hour and a half of someone chatting on a podcast. And I'd kind of like to start a podcast myself. If my fans want to hear that, they'll let me know. I try to. It's kind of weird to address fans sometimes because I feel like everyone I meet becomes a friend in a way, and I know that's not necessarily the case. Not everybody can be your friend, but the way I grew up, it's like almost strange to say I have fans. It's a weird thing to say, but I know I do, and I do appreciate them very much, and I really enjoy what we do, and I'm looking forward to 2022, and we're going to build something even better for what we're doing. we have this two-piece group with drums and guitar, and we have tracks, and it sounds like a full band, and it's incredible. And we're gonna see where we can build it to. And I mean, we're doing everything. We're doing a lot of country, and we're doing a lot of rock, and we're doing, pop, and we're doing rap and hip hop, and like everything. And so you got to come out and check it out if you can, if we're in your area. And keep streaming the new tunes, man. Nobody Rides for Free is out right now, and it's another great, song that's at an awesome time recording out in Colorado, and with Eric Reed at TBM Studios, and it's awesome to be able to finally put this stuff out after all this time. And so make sure you guys go keep listening to that. And I'm done rambling. I'll just back off out of here, but hopefully see you guys at a show soon, and enjoy your day, and we'll see you guys. Peace out.